Hey, it's me. Just kidding. I don't know that song or the lyrics very much aside from what I've seen all over the internet on little snippets of videos. But hey, it's me. My name is Angela, and this is the start of my vlog journey. Why did I start it? Well, I decided to book a trip to Europe, but not just any simple trip, 3 weeks living out of a backpack. Okay, not like your average backpack. It's like a true hiking backpack, but even so, I'm not living out of suitcases, and I didn't use any kind of guidance aside from what I found on the internet, so yep, no booking agency here. Just doing it all on my own. So for 3 weeks, I will be in Europe, covering 6 countries in that amount of time. 7th bonus one through a day trip I'll be taking. But I got this started because I had several people super interested in what I would be doing and how I made my decisions and kind of just what brought this on. So here I am. This is episode number 1. We'll see how consistent I stay with this. The kind of person I am, there's no super amount of editing that's going to happen. It's pretty much just going to be cut and dry, raw. There's going to be mistakes, and maybe I'll trip along the way. Yeah, I decided to get a selfie stick. That should be quite an adventure. So anyways, a few months ago, I decided to book this trip. Before the pandemic, I had already had the makings of this trip kind of booked, and wasn't going to be going by myself. Yes, you heard that right. I'm going by myself. And just for reference, I am 5 foot even and like 150 pounds. So carrying around 40 or so pounds on my back by myself is an adventure on its own. I'm pretty sure that the locals here in the small little town that I live in think that I'm kind of crazy, because when I first got my backpack, I would load it up with weights and started to walk around town with it on. The weather was better back then, so I haven't really kept with it, but I wanted to know how it felt on my shoulders and if I was going to have to get a different backpack, which I did. And so then I upgraded to something better, which I am excited to show you all in another video, and all the things that I purchased and plan on packing and utilizing. So again, 3 weeks living out of a backpack. But this isn't like your usual backpacking excursion you see all over the internet. I'm doing it a little more luxurious than that. So no hostels for me. About half the time I'll be in hotels and half the time I'll be in Airbnbs. Either way, I'm really excited to be fully immersed in each of the cities I'll be at. So how does my trip begin? Well, I'll fly into Amsterdam. What other place to start, right? So I'll start in Amsterdam and I'll be there for a few days. And then I'll utilize the train once I'm in Europe. So I'll take the train over to Hamburg, Germany, and then to Prague in the Czech Republic, down to Budapest in Hungary, and back up a little ways to Vienna, Austria, and then swoop down to Venice, Italy on a night train. That's going to be an interesting one on itself. Can't wait for that video. So come along with me for 3 weeks in Europe as I take you along to see everything and do everything with me. From the food, to the excursions, to just the travel in itself and being there. In Amsterdam, I already booked a ballet with a junior ballet company, so it isn't like the cream of the crop, but it's definitely the upcoming talent that's in the area. I'm really excited. I have never seen a ballet live, only just like the specials and recordings you would ever see on television. And I'm really big into the arts, and I'm also a foodie, so you're going to get an interesting mix, let me tell you that. So junior company ballet, looking pretty forward to that. It's a contemporary piece called Bubbles, and it's a short tour, so I think it's only a few weeks, and I just happened to be in the area when they'll be there. I got a little panicky when I first went to book a ticket because I realized they were touring around around the Netherlands, the country. They weren't just staying in the one city. So I almost booked the ballet in a completely different city, and that would have been interesting. So I've got that, and then I'll do a few other things like walking tours. There's actually a great deal of free walking tours out there that you can take, and that's a great springboard to decide what else you're going to do, and you spend a couple of euros tipping the person or just holding on to your reservation to the group. So really excited to do that. I land in Amsterdam like in the morning, so I have a few hours before I actually can check in to where I'm staying. So I decided that I will probably do a boat tour. If you didn't know, Amsterdam actually has a city card. Several of the cities I'm going to be in have city cards, which you can utilize for public transportation and different things within the city. Although I highly recommend actually grooming through the whole listings that they have, because for instance, Amsterdam, you get the I card, you pay a flat price, and you go to you can use all the public transportation that you want throughout that time. Like it's by hourly in the sense of the ticket that you purchase is like 24 hours, 40 hours, 48, 72. So I'm there just over 72 hours, so that is the one that I'm going with. But you can get on the boat tours, any of the public transportation. You can rent a bicycle for free for one day. And then you have free access to all kinds of museums and sightseeing elements. And then you get crazy discounts on other things like restaurants and maybe some specific sightseeing elements like Adam's Lookout, for example. Which I'm still on the fence on whether or not I'm going to do that, because basically you hang over a building and get a panoramic view of Amsterdam. Okay, who are we kidding? I'm probably going to do it. I just will try not to be afraid. We'll see. So for Amsterdam, it makes sense for me to get the city pass, but maybe in another city, I decided not to get the city pass because it didn't make any sense. For example, you didn't get free entry into all the major sightseeing places or museums or whatnot. It's only discounted rates. So if you're only going to a few of them, you might as well just pay full price. But you can also see if you can get a travel card or a pass specifically for transportation within the city, so that you can just scan it and hop on and you don't have to worry about having euros or coronas or forints. Yeah, I'm going through 3 types of currency. So, newsflash, just because a country is part of the EU doesn't necessarily mean that they're utilizing euros. Or just because it's in Europe doesn't mean that they're utilizing euros. So I actually did some research and I found something called like a travel card essentially, but I also was turned on to it because my niece had a roommate that they ran cross country together. She's from the UK and she mentioned having this kind of like bank card, but it's not quite a bank card. And so then I looked into it for Americans and I found Wise. So the Wise card, the company used to be called Wise Transfer. So definitely can look into that. You can have a physical card or just have it on your phone. I chose to get a physical card. I don't know, for me just to have it, and then the simplicity of using it at an ATM or something. So if I get in a bind, I can actually just pull money that way instead of using my personal debit card or my credit card. So I have a couple of different ways that I can pay for something aside from just currency, like physical currency. So I do already have some euros, but I may not have the time to go and exchange euros and more dollars for coronas in Prague or forints in Hungary. So there's that for you. Anyways, from Amsterdam, then I will doodle over to Hamburg by train. I have actually been to Hamburg, Germany before. So I had hosted a student from Germany. He's from around that area in a village. So maybe we'll get to cross paths, maybe we won't. It'll be kind of a tight window. So I do have the luxury of kind of just going through it at a slower pace instead of trying to soak it all in just a few days. The other thing is I'm currently in graduate school and I'm in a harder class this semester. I don't know why I chose to line it up this way, but that's what happened. So I actually will need some time to read and take care of some assignments and write a paper, which is probably what I'm going to be spending 50% of train travel for, and the airplane. So yeah, I'm going to look out the window and see what's going on, but I'm probably going to be doing the boring stuff too, and let's face it, a nap. So then I'll arrive in Hamburg, be there for a few days, and then I will head out to Prague in the Czech Republic again by train. I also have another exchange student that I had hosted. He is from that area, and he is currently in med school there in the city. And when I sent him where I was staying, he's like, hey, that's really close to my school, so bonus. I'm really looking forward to Prague. It's a really underrated city as far as beauty and architecture. I'm really looking forward to the walking tours there. So I'll be doing that, and then there's a couple of other things, like I could do a dinner, river cruise, or a medieval dinner. I'm kind of leaning towards that. So I actually will be arriving in Prague on Valentine's Day, and I'm still trying to decide whether or not I want to go ahead and book that dinner the night that I arrive. We'll see. I still got some time to decide. That's kind of the beauty of it. I've created like a Google document and just kind of thrown together everything that I'm looking at doing, and then the really important things. So instead of saving all of my Google Maps on my phone, I have it saved on there so that, let's say my phone gets stolen or something, people don't necessarily know exactly where I'm going to be all the time. But I can just click on that link within that Google document and it'll take me to the map. But I can also save the maps to my like Google account. So I have a couple different ways to get them. And then of course, ideally the smart thing would be to maybe have a physical notebook with me of all the important stuff, which I plan on doing as well. Because I might just need to take notes for something like, hey, somebody pointed out this restaurant would be a really good one to go to. I don't know. I just try to plan for it all. So I'll be there for a few days. And then I will head down to Budapest, Hungary, which is actually, I think, where I'll be staying the longest. So I'll stay there for a few days, 4 nights actually, but I get in later in the evening. When I say later, like after dark. And then where the train arrives is in a different district than where I'm staying, because I decided I want to stay in a hip district. So it'll be a 30-minute like public transportation ride over to where I'm actually staying. So that one I'm a little bit nervous about, but I think I'll be okay. So if you didn't know, Budapest is three times bigger than Paris. I did not know this. So yeah, and if you didn't know, it's like Buda and Pest, and it's divided by a river, right? Okay. So that's why I'm spending a little more time there, because it just is really interesting to me. I know very little about the city and the area. I know a lot more about the other 3 places that I'm going leading up to Budapest. But something I'm really excited for there is they have all kinds of different like mineral spas, like the mineral hot waters and stuff. And you can have like a whole relaxation day. So I definitely plan on spending a few hours there and checking that out to see how it differs to like the hot pools, the spas and stuff that you can go to in Colorado, for example. And just because by that point, who doesn't want a little relaxation from all the walking you're doing? In addition, I might also do another little river cruise thing, but I'm doing a day trip. And during this day trip, you actually travel along the river and you end up across the border in Slovakia. So that was bonus number 7 with countries. So I'm looking forward to like doing an excursion in that way. Most of these are not like true excursions where I'm like, you know, rock climbing or something, or hiking, although I could have done those things. But this one is just enjoying more of the natural sights. And you get to stop at the like oldest basilica in the country of Hungary, which I'm into old buildings like that. Like I really enjoy architecture and I'm really looking forward to that. And food. So there's that. Then I will take a very short train in comparison to the other ones over to Vienna. I did not realize how close Vienna and Budapest are. And Vienna was kind of like a throwaway spot. I was like, well, there's really no great direct train from Budapest to Venice. So I thought, well, let's real quick go up to Vienna for a couple days and then take a night train from there. And now I kind of wish I would have added an extra day in Vienna, because the more I started looking through everything that I could do, the more interested I became. So I'm actually going to be like compacting several things. I did book to see an opera there. Really excited. At first I had two options. One was, I did not know this, Beethoven has an opera out there. And then I thought, yeah, that's going to be the one I want to go to. And then I took a look at what it was about, and I was like, this is a little too, like, intense for me. So I went ahead and booked the Italian opera. I do not remember the name. I'm not familiar with it. But it's, of course, a love story, so why not? But if you didn't know, the State House, or the Staatsoper, I'll eventually get it right, but not today, is like what the Lou is to art. So it is like one of the places to go listen to opera, or classical theater in that sense. So being the little like theater junkie that I am, theater kid, cannot wait for that experience. And honestly, I'm not upset with the ticket that I got. There wasn't a lot of options, and I didn't want to spend like an arm and a leg. And if I would have been thinking about it a little sooner, I could have definitely booked this way sooner when it had first opened up. Like when the playbill, per se, had first opened up and, you know, was announced. But that's not what happened. Doesn't matter. So I'll do that. And then the Schönbrunn Palace, I really want to go check that out. Again, love old architecture, love the history. Vienna is one I kind of a toss-up on whether or not I'm going to get like their city pass. I already decided I was going to nix doing one in Prague, and probably not in Budapest, although I still want to see if Budapest has like public transportation option. If not, Budapest is the most inexpensive stop on my entire trip, so I'm not as concerned about paying for things there as maybe some of the other places that are using euros, for example. And I didn't know this, but the Czech koruna has very similar exchange rate as the peso does with the USD. So, interesting tidbit there. Who knew you were going to learn something today? Maybe a few things. So, Vienna is a little bit of a surprise there. I would like to squeeze in maybe checking out like a chocolate tour, but we'll see how it goes. So I've got the opera, and I already have like clothes planned out for this whole trip. People who don't know me, I'm used to wearing t-shirt and jeans a lot of the time, and maybe I'll still be wearing jeans, but definitely upscaling the outfits for sure. Like I have a sequin skirt, and I have a green velvet wrap dress, and all these cute sweaters. And who is this person? What happened to me? Am I really getting into fashion? This is weird. Like, or like, am I gonna have to do my makeup every day? That's probably expected, right? It won't take me very long. All right, let's get into this routine. So, whole different person on this trip, I guess. Anyways, from Vienna, my last day there, I've got to check out of where I'm staying, and then it's like 8 o'clock before my train leaves, like in the evening. So I have like 8 hours to figure out what I'm gonna do with myself. So I decided I was going to probably do some kind of tour, and then in the evening there's Ice World, which is this massive ice skating rink. That's kind of my thing. So I figured go kill a couple of hours at the ice skating rink. I'll be so worn out that I will sleep so good on the train. But I am really excited to share that overnight experience with you guys. And then I'll wake up in the morning and arrive in Venice, Italy, where I will be for about 4 days. So I do make mistakes. And mistake number 1 of this trip was, let's book a flight at 6:30 in the morning out of Venice, Italy, where people don't get up early. And the transportation doesn't even start for the day until like 7 or 8. That seems like a great thing, right? Then you have changes to your itinerary, and your flight actually is going to be leaving at 6 in the morning. Yeah, I felt really dumb. So what I ended up doing was booking a hotel on the island. Yeah, Venice is a series of islands, if you haven't looked into that. So booked a hotel there, and I didn't book a hotel that's like in the hip place of Venice because, again, it's an island and it takes like 35 minutes to walk from one side to the other. Like, I can handle that, right? So you can take water taxis, although they're a bit expensive. And if you didn't know this, there are no vehicles on Venice. There are no mopeds. There are no bicycles. Just your two feetsies and water taxis. So there's a bridge that comes over from the mainland to Venice, the island. And public transportation runs through that. Buses, I don't think there's a train. Well, there's a train that comes across, of course, because I'm taking that. And then it stops there. No cars beyond that. No buses, no nothing. And so you can, in the canals, there's like two main canals. You can use like a water taxi to get around the island. But again, it's almost the same amount of time as walking. I'm only going to be using it once, and that's because I do plan on booking an 8-course tasting menu dining experience at a 1 Michelin star restaurant there in Venice, and it's on the other side of the island. So I figured if I'm dressed nicely, I would rather just take the canal, not get lost or anything at night. And I guess Venice is also one of the safest places to be at in the night, like at night, because the buildings and everything are so close and all the windows, and there's people residing in a lot of the upper levels of the buildings. There's not a lot of crime that happens. Like, you can hear everything, so that makes me feel better about it. Although I've traveled quite a bit up to this point, so I'm not super concerned about traveling by myself, and I'm taking some additional precautions, which I'll talk about more when I go over what I'm packing and why in another video, part 2 perhaps. So that's what I'll be doing in Venice. I did decide to do a day trip that takes you to 3 of the larger islands off of the main Venice island. So you get to see something like glass blowing and more of the artisanal things that are happening there in Venice. And if I had been paying attention, lined things up a little better, I would have been hitting Venice around the time of Carnival, which, if you don't know what Carnival is, it happens in February. It also happens in Brazil. It just looks different. Think about Mardi Gras, but quite different culturally, but the essence of it is very similar. It's a whole celebration, it's a festival, but there's a lot more, I would say, cultural elements to how Carnival is done in some of these other countries. But I would say if you went and did Mardi Gras in Louisiana, there would be some very similar elements to it. So I'm actually going to be in Venice the last day of Carnival, because it goes on for like 3 weeks. But at the same time, then it would have been more expensive for me to be in Venice, and it would have been way more crowded. So it's kind of a good trade-off in a way. But I'm really excited about all of that. And then the hiccup. What do I do about getting on a plane at 6 in the morning? Well, I've got to be there actually 3 hours early. So 3 in the morning. I went ahead and booked a relatively cheap hotel right by the airport that has 24-hour shuttles. So I will check out of my hotel there on the island, and I will probably store my bags. So in a lot of these places at train stations and stuff, there are lockers that you can store your luggage in because, you know, people arrive at all kinds of times, or maybe they're just there for like a business trip and they just stow their stuff away. And it's pretty secure, but you just want to pay attention to the time that someone's available to help. So I'll be doing that, and then I can spend the rest of the day checking out the island or, you know, doing whatever. But then I had this crazy idea in the shower this morning, thinking maybe I can take a train somewhere else for the day. Why not? And take it back to my next hotel and then sleep for a few hours and leave. And really the only reason why I booked a hotel, like a relatively cheap one, was so that I could shower and stuff. before heading out and making sure I had everything packed up and stuff, just to be certain. And just like not feel like a nomad, I guess. I don't want to carry around all my stuff. And there's actually pods that you can rent in the airport, but they're like 90 some euros, which is roughly $100. And they're not sanitized or cleaned in between people, and they're like a little closet cubby type thing. And you can't shower. So the reviews are horrible. And I said, that sounds dumb. So let's book something for like $50 where I can shower and be shuttled. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'll fly out of Venice. So I actually start my trip in a city of canals and end my trip in a city of canals. So I'm sure there are more things that I'll add to my trip. I'm not done. But I'm trying to do like one major thing in every place. And then spend the rest of the time just flexible, free-falling. I think Budapest is probably where I have the most semblance of an itinerary compared to everywhere else. But of course, I've got to be mindful of when I need to be somewhere, because it's not the kind of city travel that we have here in the US. I am really thankful about all the public transportation options, and I'm pretty certain in a few places there's things like the Lime scooters that you can get, and of course bicycles. Like, duh. I cannot wait to get a bicycle and run around all over the place. Okay, well, not run, but bike around. My hope is perhaps I maybe drop a few pounds before I come back, but with all the food options, we'll see. I have thought about doing a couple of food tours, but I'm not completely sold on them, so we'll just see. It may very well be one of those things where I'm like, okay, Google, what are the best places around me? It's weird how many like McDonald's and things I found. Although I did read, go ahead and try McDonald's at least once when you're in Europe, because it's a totally different experience. So I suppose I could probably do that. So yeah, but a little backstory about what I may or may not title my whole vlog channel about is, okay, not that I have a sixth sense or like a special skill perhaps, but this conversation had come up where I work, or where I won't be working anymore because my last day's coming up. And that's kind of why I decided to do this trip for 3 weeks versus just 1 week or 2 weeks, like 2 weeks like I originally planned. I think my original trip before COVID was like 10 days. And then, had to ditch that because COVID. So anyways, I have this really keen sense about people that don't sit right with me. And very frequently have I said to my supervisor, I don't like that person. And that seems really strong to say about somebody that you've just literally seen from across the room, like not even just a room, like a gymnasium, and just their demeanor, and you'd be like, I don't like them. Or the first sentence that comes out of somebody's mouth, I don't like them. And it has been funny because then something will happen, and truth be told, they weren't someone to be trusted or liked at all. And so lately it has been said, like my sensing of bad vibes is like a pig to truffles. Well, then this exciting thing happened. So the person that's replacing me happened to be out thrifting and found this. Okay, maybe you can't read it, but it says, every day I'm truffling. Every day I'm truffling with a pig. Truffling with a pig. It's a little big, but it's comfortable, and this might be like my travel shirt that I have for videos and updates and stuff. But I just thought it was hilarious that this whole analogy of what I am to bad vibes is like a pig to truffles. You can just like sniff them out, sniff them out, sniff them out. So then we were throwing around ideas for a tagline or something from my vlog that was really at the time just kind of an essence of an idea. So now I gotta come up with a legit title. So I was like, Truffle Pig Adventures. That's a new one. trufflin'. I don't even know. If you have an idea, throw it my way. Something with truffle and pig, something with adventures, something with vibes. But then we were like truffle pig vibes. That could be something. Trufflin' adventures. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But for now, hey, it's me, Angela. Anyways, hope you enjoy this adventure with me. Looking forward to this. Adios, folks.